Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be doing two things. First, we're going to be going out and doing some third-person street photography once again. And second, we're going to be doing a review of the little guy that makes that possible. So tonight, yet again, I find myself in a luxurious 2-star San Francisco hotel doing a video because I'm bored. And in this video, I want to accomplish two things. And the first and most important thing that I'll be doing is street photography. That's what it's really all about. This channel is mostly about the photography and selfishly growing as a photographer. Gear reviews are nice, but that getting good photography and the growth that occurs there, and also hopefully bringing others along with me. That's what matters most to me, so we'll do that first. But I know a lot of you aren't here for that. You're more interested. You're here probably for the actual review of the Insta360 360X. And if that's you, you don't care about the little adventures, then you are welcome to skip that and go straight to the review, which will be at the time screen that you're seeing on the screen now. But for everybody else, I really want to go out and take you on another third-person style photo shoot. There's something for me that's really challenging and promotes a lot of growth for me, myself personally, as a photographer, when I know that there's a group of people, potentially thousands of people, that are going to be seeing what I have come up with within an hour to a block of whatever time period I've given myself. There's a self-edit that occurs while you're doing that. There's a big challenge that comes with trying to come up with interesting photos on the spot, knowing that some of the photos are not going to be very good. But for me, where it's all about the growth and it's all about becoming better, I love that challenge. So anyway, forgive me if some of the shots don't measure up to your high standards, but hopefully some of them will be decent. Either way, I hope you enjoy the session. Roll film. So I really hope you enjoyed that. The first time I did that, the third person, I had it kind of behind my back, that third person view a couple months back. People really seem to like that, and then in the episodes we've done it since in our photo duels, we've gotten a lot of good response, and that's made me more anxious to use this guy in our videos. Now, full disclosure here, Insta1 did send me this. Actually, they've sent me 2 of these, and I'll get into why I got 2 of these from them a little bit later. But I did want to make sure you knew that this is semi-sponsored because they gave me this. A lot of people offer to give us stuff, gear, and we don't always accept, but in this case, we gave it a shot. I'm really glad we did. I may be a little biased because they gave it to me for free, but I have no problem telling you that now that I've used it, I would have no problem buying this with my own cash, because it really has changed the way that we do video. And the first reason it's changed things is because for us it's really hard when photography is the purpose, the videography takes back seat. We don't have a full-time videographer following us around when I'm doing this alone, especially, but when we do our photo duels where Danae and I will go out and we'll do these photo adventures with the purpose of proving once and for all which is better than the other in a friendly, we love each other sort of way. It's hard for us, though, to capture all the moments on video. I hope that you'll recognize what a challenge it is just to get good photos. But when you're also distracted with the idea or the notion that not only am I trying to look for great photo opportunities, but I'm also, when Danae's shooting, I've got to video her, capture the experience and the story in an interesting way. That's a lot for your brain to try to kind of keep hold of artistically. And photography and videography are similar, but there's enough differences that I think that it can distract, and I'm sure that we take a hit with our photography. Certainly the videography takes a hit. Not only that, but we miss stuff. There are times when Danae will capture something that's just fleeting when I wasn't actively, filming, or vice versa. And that's a bummer to me. We will still show those photos, but when we don't have the story, and sometimes the story is just really cool, people we've met and just didn't have the video running at the time, or something fleeting that happened on the street. This allows us to capture everything, and it's kind of a fallback. Videographers, especially those who do like music videos, they'll usually have that safety shot, that wide kind of grabbing everything safety shot. So if they just happened to any given point in that music video to not have a great shot, they've always got that fallback shot. And for us, this is fallback shot. This is always running, always capturing stuff, and it allows us to get some more interesting views that we wouldn't otherwise. And so it's a big relief to us to have this always running in the background, to know that we've got that safety net, and to get more of the story. So you may have noticed that we had it in a few episodes, then we didn't for a while. And I guess I just told you about what I love most about it, is the interesting way it captures everything happening around us. The thing I like least, we'll talk about the thing I like most, the thing I like least, and then we'll build towards the center. The thing I like least is that this lens is easy to scratch. It's 2 lenses really, and because it bubbles out, obviously you have to be careful. And I learned this the hard way with the first one that Insta1 360 sent us. We did a video on Yant Flat, which you may remember. Really happy with that video, and the shots that this allowed us to get. But towards the end of that shoot, I had this up on kind of a selfie stick with a tripod on the bottom, and it took a tumble. That was stupid of me to leave it in a precarious situation like that, but because of that, it got a nick on one of the lenses, which renders half of basically 180 of the view fairly useless. There's no way to replace these, and you can't send it back to Insta360 and have them replace these lenses once it's scratched. It's just kind of have to throw it away. And so they were kind and sent me another one because I hadn't actually done a review of it yet. And so I really appreciate that from them. But to be honest, if they wouldn't have sent me another one, I probably would have eventually bought this again, because I really do love what it allows us to do. We've really missed it in the last few photo duels where we haven't had it with us. So yeah, those are the things I like most and least about it. Everything else, everything in between, well, I'm not going to get super technical, but there are a few things I do want to say. This does shoot at 5.7K, I think. Let me just verify that really quick. It's an odd sort of resolution, so I have to, 5.7K. It will shoot in log. It will now shoot in HDR, which is a recent upgrade or an update that this has gone through. And I love that it will show you the minutes available. It'll do straight 167 minutes recording time. That at 5.7K, that's really great. Now that is 167 minutes using, again, 5.7K. And using 128 gigabyte micro SanDisk. This is the Extreme Plus, the V30 UHS or whatever 3. This is the only one that will work. I mean, other sizes will work, but you have to do the Extreme Plus. I learned also the hard way that the slower cards will not work with this. So had to pony up for the big guy. I think if you're shooting in 4K, you're going to get more runtime. Let me just go ahead and look and see what that is if I change it. Yeah, so it'll double that at 335 minutes. Big fan of the recording time now. What you can do with this, you can basically capture your full adventure in 360 motion, and that's really rad. Now we'll also do photos. Honestly, I probably wouldn't use this for photography. Another thing that it can do is bullet time, which is really cool. It's a little gimmicky. I don't know how many people will buy this for that feature. It's very specialized. Bullet time is fun as a novelty for a minute, but it's not very useful for most videographers. What would make it more useful is if the video orientation could point somewhere other than down. For instance, I wanted to zip down Grant in San Francisco Chinatown and try to get some tourists in very slow motion, but bullet time on the Insta360 One X will only point down, or what it assumes will be back at you if you're flipping it around over your head. It also doesn't work too well in the dive case. It'd be great if you could orient it another way and get some more interesting extreme slow motion shots. I'd also do hyperlapse. Haven't done a ton of that yet, but definitely plan to experiment a little bit with that and see if I can use it in some of the event videos that I have been doing. So absolutely, I plan on doing more of that. From what I've seen online though, that hyperlapse footage is creamy, nice, and good. That's the other thing I like about this, kind of bouncing around here, but I really like the stabilization. You can see from my photo session, I had this on my camera, kind of bouncing around. It was walking, trying to hold it as steady as I could. But if this had been on a typical action cam without stabilization, it would have been all over the place. But with this, it was pretty smooth. So those are some things I really love about it. Things not so good. It's not great in low light, as I understand it. I've seen some footage and it didn't look that good, so I haven't even tried. I only use this for daytime shoots. I also don't love the tally lights. When you turn it on and it starts running, you get the tally light. Now, my case is pretty specialized, where I'm using it in my street photography, either back here or on my camera a lot of times. I prefer not to draw. I mean, it gets attention drawn to it just by virtue of the fact that I look like some sort of cyborg. But it doesn't help that those lights are on, and I need to remember to do this. I keep forgetting to bring some gaff tape and just kind of stick it over there. But it'd be great if I could turn off the tally lights, so that's not even an issue, and just refer to the LCD screen to know if it's recording or not. And my camera died, so we're on camera 2 here, second camera. Hopefully this one doesn't die too. I didn't bring any of my chargers when I came to San Francisco, like an idiot. But anyway, where were we? We were talking about, yes, this, all of the things. Now, that about covers everything I want to say about the device itself. If you can't tell, I do like it a lot. But when it comes to editing, that's a little bit of a mixed bag. Well, not a mixed bag. It's not great yet. Now, I have confidence that Insta360 is going to improve their software to match the hardware. But as it is right now, the desktop software is not great. The mobile software is excellent. But I mean, for me, myself, as a professional videographer, not really, but whatever, pretends videographer, when I sit down to edit video, well, that's the key. I'm doing it on a computer. I'm using Premiere or other editing tools on my desktop, and I'm producing a video that hopefully will be professional. But ironically, it's the mobile app that produces more professional looking footage. The desktop app is really hard to get looking smooth and natural. I'll show you what I mean. The mobile app has 3 excellent ways to control camera movement in post. Smart Track will set a tracking point that the software will try to follow, and that works well for simple motion. But movement like this, where my son is moving above the water's surface, loses the camera. For more complex movements, it's simple enough though to set pivot points. Between these 2 main types of camera movements, you can see that this whole scene flows very smoothly. Viewfinder is the third method of controlling the camera angle, and this is probably the most advanced but also the most natural method. This is where you control the camera angle in post by physically moving your phone around. Your phone's gyroscope controls the camera movement. This can work very well for certain types of shots, and if you're used to being behind a video camera, this also might be your preferred method. But when we look at the desktop software, ironically, this form factor, the one that professionals would normally prefer to use, is very difficult and also not as advanced compared to the mobile app, the consumer product. I'm not going to go into all the issues I have with the desktop software in this video. That could be a separate 20-minute video. I find it sufficient to say here that you'll be better off importing your footage onto your mobile device, doing your camera angle work there, and then exporting that back to your desktop machine to finalize editing the footage in your preferred video editor. And if you're not sending this footage to Snapchat or to Instagram from your phone, the workflow gets a little muddy, a little messy, and not ideal. But I mean, it's hard for me to complain about all that because, man, I didn't have this 6 months ago. And so to complain that it's not a perfect solution is, it's a little silly. I really do think the solution will come along, but I don't want to be too entitled here. I really like this solution. I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to all the footage I'll be able to create with it going forward. Yeah, but that's it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Something in it was helpful or entertaining to you in some way. But as always, remember, kindness before cameras. We'll talk to you again real soon.